In ancient legends, the phoenix is known as the immortal bird. But its immortality doesn't mean it lives forever in the same old form. When its wings grow heavy and its body becomes weary, the phoenix soars high into the sky, dives into the flames, and lets itself burn. People believe it has died. But from the ashes, a new phoenix rises more radiant, stronger, and freer than ever before. This image has always fascinated humanity. Deep down, we know that we, some too, must walk through such fires. We cannot step into a new life while still clinging to the old. And here's the truth: your old self is not just a collection of memories. It's like an old song playing on repeat, day after day. It lives in the habits you think you cannot break, in the emotions that keep pulling you back, in the stories you keep telling yourself again and again. That old self was born out of wounds, failures, and rejections. At first, it was just a mask, something you wore to survive. But over time, you forgot it was only a mask and mistook it for who you really are. And so, each morning you wake up with the same heaviness, the same small voice whispering in your head, "Don't expect too much." And the world outside, like a mirror, simply reflects it back to you. According to Dr. Joe Dispenza, by the age of 35, 95% of what you call you is nothing more than unconscious programs, habits, reflexes, and emotional patterns wired into your body. Biologist Bruce Lipton adds, when you change your perception, you rewrite the chemistry of your body. In other words, your body becomes addicted to old emotions, worry, doubt, regret, like a familiar chemical drug. And this is the invisible prison that keeps you trapped. But here's the important truth: you are not separate from this world. In quantum physics, the observer effect shows us that reality does not exist as a fixed event. It depends on the observer, on their state of being. You don't just watch the universe. You are part of the quantum field itself, condensed into human form. So every morning, when you wake up and slip back into the old self, you are broadcasting a familiar signal into the field. And the universe, faithful as ever, simply mirrors it back to you. You say you want a different reality, but the universe doesn't respond to words. It doesn't care about the vision board on your wall or the affirmations you whisper each morning. It responds only to the vibrational signal you are truly emitting. And that signal comes from who you are in each moment. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And when you begin to change that signal, something extraordinary happens. Synchronicities appear. Meaningful coincidences, the right person shows up at the right time. A new door opens when you least expect it. This is not random. This is the field responding to the shift within you. As Neville Goddard once said, you do not create. You choose. And the self you embody is the chooser. That is why true self-development is not about adding more skills, more effort. It's about letting go. It's about shedding the old skin, like the phoenix diving into the fire to be reborn. You don't have to force yourself to become someone else. You only need to stop identifying with the old self and allow your true essence to step forward. And that is the very first step, the first crack through which the light of a new reality can begin to shine in. Have you ever wondered, why is letting go so hard? You can read countless books, listen to inspiring talks, even try every self-development method you can find, yet still feel like you're back at square one. It's not because you're not trying hard enough. It's because the old self doesn't just live in your thoughts, it is etched into your body. Neuroscience calls this emotional habits. When you repeat the same emotion over and over, your brain carves a neural pathway for it. Over time, those pathways get wrapped in myelin, turning into highways of the nervous system. That means with just the smallest trigger, your body will automatically recreate the old emotion like a scratch on a record. The needle always slips back to the same spot, playing the same chorus again. Dr. Joe Dispenza once said, "By the time you're 95% of who you are is a set of unconscious programs, reflexes, beliefs, and memorized habits." In other words, each morning you don't really wake up into a new day. You wake up into the same version of yourself. Before your conscious mind even gets going, your body has already pressed play on the same old movie. Biologist Bruce Lipton adds, "The moment you change your perception, you rewrite the chemistry of your body." That may sound simple, but in practice, your body has become addicted to the old chemical cocktails of emotion: worry, fear, doubt, anger. Each comes with its own neurotransmitters and hormones, and your brain and nervous system call that stability. The paradox is, even if it hurts you, your body clings to it because familiar pain feels safer than unfamiliar happiness. This is the biological prison that holds you back. And every time you try to change, the old self whispers, "Don't take the risk. You'll only fail. Go back to what you know." Not because it wants to harm you, but because it thinks it's protecting you. That mask of survival is now covering the light of who you truly are. From the lens of quantum physics, the observer effect makes this even clearer. As long as you are the same observer holding the same frequency, the same state, you will keep collapsing new possibilities back into the same old reality. The universe is not biased. It simply reflects the signal you're broadcasting. That's why you can fill journals with goals, cover your walls with vision boards, or read dozens of self-development books and still see no change. No. You cannot enter a new reality with the same body, the same energy, the same broadcast. You don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. Look at the synchronicities in your own life. When you're stuck in worry, you'll meet situations that reinforce your worry. But the moment you shift your signal, something uncanny happens. The right person shows up. The right words cross your path. An unexpected opportunity appears. This isn't random magic. It's the quantum field precisely responding to the new version of you that you chose to embody. So if change feels difficult, remember the problem isn't that you lack strength. It's that your body has been hooked on the chemistry of the past. Letting go of the old self isn't about fighting it. It's about no longer feeding it energy. Like the phoenix. You don't try to patch up tattered wings. You let the fire burn them away, so a new form can emerge. The greatest challenge is not learning something new. It is daring to let go. To release the emotions stored in your cells. To release the old stories you keep telling about yourself. To release the familiar safety that has kept you stuck. And the moment you do, a door opens. Because only when you stop playing the old song does the quantum field have space to play a new melody. And reality will begin to shift, not slowly, but instantly, just as the observer effect has shown us all along. In quantum physics, there is a principle known as the observer effect. It tells us that particles and waves exist in a state of infinite potential. But the moment there is an observer, reality instantly collapses into one specific possibility. In other words, your very presence, your state of being, determines which reality shows up. If you observe from the old self full of worry, doubt, and hurt, then you are choosing a reality that matches it. Not because you are being punished, but because the universe functions like a perfect mirror. What you project outward is reflected back. Neville Goddard once said, "You do not create, you choose." And the self you embody is the chooser. Think of a morning when you wake up. The first thought that runs through your mind is familiar. Today will probably be just the same. In that very moment, you have already set the frequency for your entire day. As you step outside, your attention filters only what matches that belief: traffic jams, frustrations at work, unpleasant people. This is the observer effect in action, not in a lab, but in the everyday fabric of life. But what if you begin your day with a different choice with the eyes of a new observer? Suddenly, things shift. The sky may still be gray, your work still imperfect, but now you notice what was once hidden: a friendly greeting, a small opportunity, an unexpected idea. The universe doesn't instantly change, but the way you observe it opens the door to a different reality. This is also the doorway to synchronicity, meaningful coincidences. When you shift your frequency, unusual signals appear. Someone texts you just when you need them. A book falls open to the exact passage you've been searching for. A chance encounter leads to a breakthrough. Synchronicity is not mystical magic. It is the quantum field responding to the new vibration you've chosen to embody. The important thing is this: you cannot fake it. You cannot just repeat, "I am happy, I am successful," while your heart is still filled with fear. The quantum field doesn't hear your words. It feels your heartbeat, your emotions, the alignment or misalignment between your mind, body, and heart. This is why real self-development is not just about knowledge. It is about training yourself to become a new observer, right in the middle of your daily life. Neuroscience confirms this. When you notice your thoughts and emotions without merging with them, your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for awareness and conscious choice, becomes activated. At the same time, the amygdala, the fear center, begins to calm down. That means the very act of awareness, without identification, rewires the brain. Old neural pathways weaken while new ones begin to form. This is the moment you become the witness of yourself. Anxiety may arise, but instead of saying, "I am anxious," you say, "This is just an old emotion passing through." In that instant, you step outside the loop, and you collapse a different possibility in the quantum field, the reality of freedom. Imagine this: every time you choose to be the new observer, you are turning the dial on the radio of your life, from the frequency of fear to the frequency of trust, from the frequency of lack to the frequency of abundance. And when you tune to the right station, you hear a different song: synchronicities, opportunities, and new flows of life. This is not a distant philosophy. It is a daily practice, and it is the second step in the journey of self-development. Stop observing life through the old eyes. Let the new observer step in. Because once you change the way you see, the reality you see will never be the same again. Think back to a time when you experienced a strange coincidence. Maybe you thought of someone, and they suddenly texted you. Or you opened a random book, and the exact page had the answer you were looking for. These moments are what we call synchronicity, meaningful coincidences. For many people, they feel like signs that the universe is speaking to me. And yes, that's true. But at a deeper level, synchronicity is not a message coming from outside. It is a mirror. It reflects the frequency you are already broadcasting. If you're in a state of lack, you'll see signs that confirm your belief in not being enough. For example, you feel lonely, and immediately you hear a breakup song. You may believe it's a message from the universe, but in reality, it's just an echo, the old self replaying its familiar signal. On the other hand, when you shift your frequency, when you step into gratitude, trust, and openness, synchronicities change. You meet the right person at the right time. Circumstances line up to support you. Opportunities appear that seem almost random. But it's not random. It is the quantum field reflecting your new frequency with what I call true signs. So, how do you tell the difference between real synchronicity and the echo of the old self? The answer lies in the feeling inside your body. The echo of the old self usually comes with contraction worry, fear, urgency. It feels like a loop reinforcing the old story. For instance, you think you're not good enough, then stumble across a news story about someone failing, and you tell yourself, see, that will be me too. True synchronicity, by contrast, brings expansion. It carries peace, excitement, or a gentle inner knowing. You don't feel pressured. You feel guided, as if life itself is flowing to place you in the right spot at the right time. Carl Jung, who coined the very term synchronicity, described it as meaningful coincidence. In other words, it's not the outer event that matters most, but the inner meaning it awakens within you. Think of synchronicity as a conversation with yourself. When you are identified with the old self, synchronicities just replay the same old songs. But when you step into the role of the new observer, synchronicities become melodies guiding you forward. The practice here is simple pause and feel. When you encounter a sign, don't rush to label it as the universe giving me direction. Instead, ask yourself, does this make me contract or expand? Does it reinforce fear, or does it awaken trust? The answer inside you is the key. Many people believe self-development means searching for answers outside in books, teachings, mysterious signs. But the truth is, every synchronicity only reflects your current state, and you are the one generating the signal. The quantum field works like a perfectly honest mirror. It doesn't hear prayers, it doesn't judge. It simply returns the image you present. When you change the way you observe and vibrate, synchronicities immediately change, just like your reflection changes when you shift your posture. So instead of chasing signs, become the sign. Remember, you don't just read synchronicity, you create it. If synchronicity is only a mirror, then the question is no longer, what does this sign mean, but rather, what do I want this mirror to reflect? Because synchronicity doesn't come to predict your fate. It comes to help you reflect on yourself. And for the image in the mirror to change, you don't need to chase more signs, you only need to shift your inner state. So how do you live with synchronicity instead of just noticing it? The answer lies in 4 practical steps. Pause, feel, embody, coherence. Pause. Every time a coincidence shows up, pause. For example, you think of an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, and moments later they call you. Most of us shrug it off as chance and move on. But if you pause, you'll see synchronicity for what it really is, a reminder that your frequency is broadcasting strongly enough for the universe to respond. That pause is the doorway to break free from old reactions and choose a new way of observing. Feel. Carl Jung, the father of the term synchronicity, once described a therapy session in which a patient was sharing a dream about a golden scarab beetle. In that very moment, a rare scarab beetle flew into the room. What mattered was not the beetle itself, but the feeling it sparked. The woman felt something unlock inside her, a click that freed her from her old psychological loop. Real synchronicity always comes with this sense of expansion and lightness, not the contraction and anxiety of the old self. Embody. This is the most important step. Synchronicity doesn't appear for you to just observe, it appears so that you embody, so that you step into the version of yourself that matches the signal. Think of Steve Jobs, the father of the iPhone. In his famous 2005 Stanford commencement speech, he recalled how, after dropping out of college, he randomly wandered into a calligraphy class. At the time, he had no idea why he was drawn to it, nor how it would ever matter. Yet years later, those elegant strokes of calligraphy inspired the typography of the Macintosh, the first personal computer with beautiful fonts. Jobs reflected, "If I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. And since Windows just copied the Mac, it's likely no personal computer would have them." When the signal appeared, Jobs didn't dismiss it. He embodied it. He lived as if it mattered, even without evidence. That became the seed of his design philosophy. Technology must marry aesthetics, simplicity, and elegance. And that philosophy crystallized into the iPhone, a product that reshaped the world. Jobs is not alone. J.K. Rowling, author of Harry Potter, once described how the idea of a boy wizard simply appeared in her mind while sitting on a delayed train from Manchester to London. Many would have dismissed it as a fleeting thought. Rowling didn't. She embodied it. She began writing, living with the characters, persevering for years through poverty. The result? One of the best-selling book series in history. Or consider Albert Einstein, who said intuition is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is its faithful servant. Many of his greatest insights, like the theory of relativity, were not born in laboratories, but from flashes of imagination, synchronicities of thought. The difference is, Einstein embodied them. He trusted those inner signals enough to dedicate his entire intellect to exploring them. These stories show us that synchronicity is only the doorway. It does not do the work for you. It doesn't turn potential into results. Only when you embody, when you step into the new version of yourself and act as if the signal is already true, does synchronicity become real in your life. Coherence. According to research from the HeartMath Institute, when people cultivate gratitude, love, and inner peace, their heart rhythms shift into a state called coherence. This state produces a powerful electromagnetic field that influences everything around them. This is why, in coherence, synchronicities multiply, because the quantum field responds most powerfully to signals that are aligned and authentic. History is filled with witnesses to this state. Einstein himself admitted that many of his discoveries came from sudden bursts of intuition that was synchronicity aligning mind and universe. In sports, Michael Jordan described the experience of flow in certain games. The hoop felt bigger, and every shot seemed effortless. That wasn't luck. It was coherence. Mind, body, and spirit aligned into perfect synchrony. So you see, synchronicity is not just a sign to decode. It is the language of the universe, responding to the way you truly live. When you pause, feel, embody, and enter coherence, synchronicity becomes your compass guiding you into life's natural flow. And from that moment on, you stop asking, "What is the universe trying to tell me?" instead. You begin asking, "What signal am I sending for the universe to reflect?" That is the shift from chasing signs to living as the signal itself. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, if tomorrow you woke up and completely released the old self, the fears, the limitations, the worn-out stories, who would you become? This is not just a hypothetical question. It is the reality that the observer effect has shown us for decades. In quantum physics, every particle exists in infinite potential until it is observed. And the way you observe with what mindset, at what frequency determines which reality collapses into form. You don't just watch the world, you shape it. And this is the key to self-development. Growth is not about adding more layers to yourself or trying to become someone else. Real growth is about removal. It is the courageous act of looking at the shells that once kept you safe, and then setting them down to reveal the core, your truest, freest self. If you notice, synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences, only begin to appear when you step outside your comfort zone and embody the new version of yourself. When you shift your frequency, the world shifts with you. Opportunities, people, and events start arriving not because you're suddenly luckier, but because you have become a magnet vibrating in alignment with them. Think back to the journey of the phoenix. It had to allow the flames to burn away its old feathers, its old beak, its old wings, so that it could rise stronger. The same is true for you. If you cling to the old self, you'll repeat the same cycles. But if you dare to let go, if you allow a part of you to die inwardly, you open the door to the infinite. And this isn't just a lofty philosophy. It is immediately practical. Tomorrow morning, instead of letting your body pull you back into old habits, pause, ask yourself, which version of me will I embody today? And let that question shape how you step out of bed, how you walk, how you speak, how you face challenges. The miracle is, you don't need to do it perfectly. You only need to practice consistently. Each time you choose the new self over the old, you carve a new neural pathway, you rewire your biology, and you send a new signal into the quantum field. And then, the first synchronicities will arrive. Maybe it's an unexpected phone call, a chance opportunity. The number 11 flashing before your eyes like a reminder. Don't dismiss it as random. See it as the universe responding, confirming that you're on the right frequency. So this ending is not an ending at all. It is a door. A door that opens into yourself, but a new you, brighter, lighter, freer. Now, close your eyes. Take a deep breath and whisper to your heart, I am ready to let go of the old me. I am the observer. I am the signal. And reality is shifting with me. This is the moment of rebirth. This is your moment. From now on, every breath, every step, every choice, you are not just living. You are creating a new reality. And now, I invite you to leave your mark in this flow. Not just a casual comment, but a declaration to yourself, a signal sent directly into the quantum field. Write this in the comments below. The old me is released. The new me has arrived. Let these words be more than text. Let them vibrate as a promise to your own soul that you are ready. And if this video has awakened something within you, don't just stop at watching. Join this community, a circle of people who are releasing the old and living fully in the new frequency. Subscribe, not only to receive more content, but to stay connected with this resonance, with a field of coherence that is growing stronger every day. Because this shift is not just yours, it belongs to all of us. And as more of us vibrate at the new frequency, the world itself will begin to reflect a brighter, wider, and more synchronic reality.